Welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast with me, Dan Hambridge, and we are on episode 4. We are smashing it, and I'm going to jump straight into this episode by saying it loud, saying it proud. The Green Bay Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. Done. End of podcast. I'm only joking. The past couple of weeks I've said that. Maybe I'm just being a bit optimistic. Maybe we could. We are winning the Super Bowl. That was the most dominant display of a defense, of the offensive, everything that I have seen since we last won the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, to be perfectly honest. I thought we were incredible. But before we get into that, international fans, 1 a.m. that game kicked off. This is where you see that kind of, for maybe our American listeners, because I've started looking at all the analytics of people that are listening, people that are watching on YouTube, people that are following on Spotify. We've got a lot of listeners in Green Bay and Detroit because we have quite a large following on TikTok from Detroit and Green Bay. And you guys are listening, so thank you. I really, really appreciate the support. But as international fans, maybe a lot of people don't know that. 1 a.m., 1:30, it was horrendous. The tiredness that I felt the day after was insane. I didn't get to bed till like 5 o'clock in the morning. So, because of that, because of my commitment, just win a Super Bowl for that. Matt LaFleur, if you're listening, that is your reason to win a Super Bowl. But for our American listeners, that is the passion and dedication that all sort of international fans for any team have. The get-ups are nuts. The early kickoffs on a Sunday, they'll start at like 6 p.m. for us because the Packers weren't that good that last season. We got most of the 6 p.m. games, which is brilliant. But now we're getting into prime time. Now we're playing well. Your Monday night football, your Thursday night football, those late games on a Sunday that are late into the afternoon for you. I think we're currently 5 hours ahead of Wisconsin at the moment, 6 in Detroit. You are early hours. You are coffeeing on a Monday morning. So for any international fans, well done. And what a game you stayed up for. This is a question that I pondered, and it's a question that actually I was watching the Pat McAfee show and he was talking about it, and he was kind of saying, are we starting to see a generational defense in Green Bay? Because last season the Packers and the Commanders were number 1 and number 2, offensive teams. Jaden Daniels had an unbelievable season. The Lions had an unbelievable season, and we're really unlucky not to get to the Super Bowl. We've made them both look pathetic, to be perfectly honest. And I know I kind of said last episode that the Lions didn't look like the Lions, and I still kind of stand by that. They look like they missed Ben Johnson. They didn't really look that effective. But then we watched them against the Bears, and I was like, oh, I get it's the Bears. But that team's still there. And then the Commanders, I was thinking, maybe it is too soon. I know we're kind of maybe jumping a little too far ahead because of the Parsons trade, but are we starting to see something quite special? Are we starting to see the building blocks of maybe the Legion of Doom? Everybody remembers that Seattle defense and how dominant they were, but they won a Super Bowl. So if we got there at the end of the season, we win the Super Bowl, even if we got to the Super Bowl, are we starting to say that this core, this unit that we've got is an absolutely generational defense, one for the history books, one for the Legion of Doom? And the thing that will make it special is when I won the International Fan of the Year for the Green Bay Packers, and I went out to the draft in Detroit to announce a draft pick, and I announced Evan Williams, and he's having a really good season and had a really good rookie year last year. I said, a future Packers Hall of Famer. And Evan, you will be. But are we starting to say that defense belongs in the Packers Hall of Fame if they can cross the line? Because at the moment, They aren't putting a foot wrong, are they? For the first three quarters in each game, we've absolutely shut them down. We've shut two really exciting offenses down. We're looking good. It's a very good time to be a Packers fan. And if you like defensive type of football, and Osi Manura always says, defense wins you championships. And we're not even talking about the offense at the moment. We're not talking about Tucker Kraft. We're not talking about Jaden Reed, which is unfortunate. I think he's broke his collarbone, so he's going to be out for about a month. Jordan Love, that Jordan Love moment in the game. And he carried the ball over and he took the defense out. That is a moment when I got up at like 3 a.m. and was like, yes, this is happening. But it's all starting with the defense. And I think that is truly, truly exciting for us. Speaking of Jordan Love, hasn't turned the ball over in 9 games. And we're talking Aaron Rodgers statistics now, aren't we? And not to be negative, maybe to be a realist, the one thing the Packers have struggled with, we win playoff games sometimes, but then we will face the Niners in that NFC Championship and we'll get smoked. Or we'll get to the playoffs and get smoked. And last season, it was unfortunate. Jordan Love, I think, didn't really recover from that first injury in the first game in Sao Paulo. Jordan Love that we're seeing now is completely different because I had my reservations last season. Maybe down to the injury, and you were looking at him and you were thinking, well, he's not fit. He isn't there. Okay. Is he the guy? Is he going to be the quarterback that is going to bring the next Super Bowl to the Packers? I don't know. But I can honestly say, and I can say this without being sort of patronising or funny about it, I think I was wrong. I think the Jordan Love of this season is looking very, very exciting. He's looking like a leader. His arm strength's there. He's looking like a Green Bay Packers quarterback. And I don't think we've maybe saw that yet. I know before last season, the season before, you had a really, really good season. But you can have blips. You can have that season where you go, okay, and then he never really follows through with it. But I don't know. There's just something about him there. He looks healthy. He looks strong. And he's turning 27. And if you believe in the whole mystery element of things, Bart Starr won a Super Bowl at 27, Favre won at 27, Rodgers won at 27, and he's turning 27 in November. So maybe that is a really, really positive thing for us. Something about the Parsons trade there, and I know he's not playing all the defensive snaps at the moment, and due to his back and stuff like that, but he will. But one thing that made me wonder about the whole Parsons thing at the moment is in our football, in our soccer, we had the thing with Alexander Isak. For anybody that doesn't watch football, he was a striker for Newcastle, had a really, really good season last year, and he put his foot down and said, I want a move to Liverpool. And that was the big saga in England, in Europe, over our transfer window, because he fully went on strike and he was like, I'm not going. Yes, you can offer me all the money in the world and I can play for a really good football club, but I want to go and win. And as much as it pains me to say it, Liverpool are the best team in the league at the moment. They are going to win the Premier League. They are a phenomenal football team to watch at the moment. But Isak put his foot down and went, no, I want to win. You can give me all the money in the world, but ultimately, if you're playing professional sport at a decent level, you're going to be well off. You're going to earn money, but you're not always going to win. You're not always going to win a Premier League. You're not always going to win a Champions League. And you're going to want to go to those teams that can give you that. Parsons, very clearly, there was trouble with Jerry, there was trouble with the Cowboys, he had his issues. But watching him sit in Lambeau Field with all the Packers fans chanting, thank you, Jerry, it was insane. And it just took me back to last year when I think it was Myles Garrett that came out and said, I want a trade. I don't want to play for the Cleveland Browns anymore. I want a trade. I want to go and win. And I was speaking on another podcast at the time that I said I would offer Malik Willis, who was really, really good for us. I went and watched him out in Nashville where he played against the Titans and he had a phenomenal game. Solid QB, can absolutely start for another team. Offer them Malik Willis, offer him a couple of draft picks, maybe a second, maybe a third, probably a first as well. Let's go for Garrett. And for all the kind of Packers writers and stuff out there, apparently we were in the conversation for Myles Garrett. It never materialised. He stayed in Cleveland. He's never going to win a Super Bowl. But he's going to be a very rich man when he retires. Chase the bag, Myles. I absolutely get why. But it just makes me think, why are these people, why are these guys in the NFL? Why don't they want to win? Because Parsons, who I didn't watch many Cowboys games, and I can fully admit that. But when you would watch the highlights, you'd see him, you'd watch him against the Packers. He was an unbelievable player in a car crash of a team. And some of those sacks, some of those moments for him, they were good. You'd go on the highlight reel and he would look brilliant, but they didn't mean anything. They didn't look like this is a player that him just being on the pitch, him being in the facility, him playing a snap, him making a sack, it didn't mean anything. But he's made that move. Granted, he's also getting the money. He's going to be a very, very rich man. I think he's the highest paid non-QB in the league at the moment, which, you know, you deserve it, in my opinion. But I think more than that, because by all accounts, Dallas offered him very, very similar money, where you don't have state income tax, so his money is his money. We don't have that in Wisconsin. He's made a move to win, I believe. He's made a move to go, you guys are Super Bowl ready, I can come in and I will offer that and I will go for it. Why don't other players do that? It doesn't make sense. Why are so many players in the NFL so concentrated, so focused on the money, that you then end up being a really Hall of Fame player like Myles Garrett in an insignificant team like the Browns? The Browns, something just popped in my head because we play the Browns this weekend. I bet he has a phenomenal game and the Browns end up upsetting us. So I might eat my words on that, but it just makes me think, park the money. Go to win. Go to win a game. Go to win a Super Bowl, because Parsons now, granted, is in a very, very good defense, but it means something. I was watching that game and I've been watching the chants afterwards thinking, this is it. This is why you wanted to be a player in the NFL, I would imagine, for moments like this. And don't be an insignificant player. Don't be a Hall of Fame player on an insignificant team, because at the end of the day, is anybody really going to remember Myles Garrett for what he did at the Browns? He should have come to the Packers. But hey, we're better off for it. Key stats from the game before we move on. Jordan Love threw for 292 yards. What a guy, and I'm fully on this. But moving on to an even better guy, Tucker Kraft. What a season. And I was talking at a flag game that I was at over the weekend, and for a third round draft pick, sorry, not a prick, you're not a prick, Tucker. For a third round draft pick, what a season. It feels like the team is elevating, everybody's in there, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. Nextly, that ain't even a word. Moving on. Big news from today is that Tom Brady is going to be playing in a flag football tournament in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh. And the details that we're kind of getting out is it's going to be on March 21st, 2026 in Riyadh. And it's going to be part of the Riyadh Entertainment and Cultural Festival. Stars are going to include Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, if he's fit, he's probably going to be injured, CeeDee Lamb, Max Crosby, Sauce Gardner, Myles Garrett, and Odell Beckham Jr. and Tyreek Hill. Going to be broadcast on Fox Sports, and it's going to be following the Olympic style of flag football. Interesting. Interesting is the word here because I currently play flag football. My season's just ended and I've loved it. It was for someone that's never played contact American football. Flag has been phenomenal, but our version of soccer has kind of been our teams are very not easily bought, but they are. We've got a couple of teams owned by state-funded corporations. Qatar, Saudi, and the Emirates, they've all kind of started buying up English football clubs. And something that we've spoken about, or I've spoken about, is the Americanness of the NFL. I love it. And sometimes I believe that the whole Saudi involvement, should it be involved in sport? And I don't think it should, personally. I don't think you should have state-owned clubs. One reason I love the Packers is that we're fan-owned. We don't have any involvements with a person or a country or a thing that I'm a little bit okay. Manchester United were owned by the Glazers, who own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and for years there has been mass protests about their involvement in Manchester United because they've turned a very profitable football club, business, organisation into billions of pounds worth of debt, and they've sucked our club dry, and I don't like it. And it was something that I saw in the news today that I thought, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that Saudi involvement in the NFL. I'm unsure. Darts is another example. Has always been a massive sort of a massive sport in the UK. We've had some brilliant dart players across the world. Saudi starting to get involved in that. Live with the golf stuff starting to get involved in that. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know how I truly feel about it. I don't know if I'm on board with it. But in the very early stages, I would say I don't know whether I agree with it. I don't know if we should be having nation states involved in sports. And maybe I would sound like a hypocrite because in the next couple of days, next month, we're going to have international games in England. We're going to have international games in Ireland, Spain. In maybe this is coming across as very, very hypocritical. But when those games have been announced, I've been super, super excited about it. I've been like, this is brilliant. This is great. I'm fully on board with it. But that is just one that I thought, ugh, I'm unsure about this. I don't know how I feel about that. But maybe that is because of their involvement in UK, European soccer that I'm like, ugh, okay, I don't like that. I am fully on board with that. Manchester United were being touted as being bought from a member of the Qatari royal family. I was fully against that. I was like, I do not want a state being associated with my football club because states can change. States can have, we've had politicians in England that I don't truly agree with. But if that person owned a football team, how would I feel? So yeah, I'm unsure about the news on that. The one positive away from it is it is fully grown the sport worldwide. And I think anything that does grow the sport worldwide, there is a positive element to it. And I think that is brilliant. And I think that is amazing. But not sure how I feel on that one. Yeah, I don't know. News for him today. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's injured, going to be out for a couple of months. And I know that the Bengals have signed Sean Clifford, who was a Packers quarterback that we drafted in 2023. And they've assigned him to the practice squad. A couple of things that I saw this morning was about, Malik Willis, who's been great for us. He's not a number 2 quarterback. He is a starting quarterback, in my opinion. Do we give him up now? Because we're going to lose him next season and we'll get a compensation pick no matter where he goes. So do we cash in now when he started in Love's injury period last season, he was great. I watched it, as I said, in Nashville, and he was brilliant. He looked really, really good. So do we give that up now and gamble on the health of Jordan Love, which, you know, injuries happen. We've just seen that with Jaden Reed. Do we gamble? I would gamble. I think at this point, when we can maybe put together a little bit better of a package for him, gamble now. And let's see if they'll give up Jamar Chase, because how phenomenal would that be to get Jamar Chase and Parsons in the very same season? But it isn't going to happen. Moving on to the next couple of games. Actually, before I do, my big take from the week 2 fixtures, I said, was that the Chicago Bears was going to beat the Detroit Lions. And in the spirit of admitting where I'm wrong, what a stinker that was, because the Bears look like the Bears. And Ben Johnson last season was phenomenal for the Lions. In, you know, one thing I don't agree with, and I'm going to get a Lions fan on to talk about this at some point, the way he was booed in Ford Field, I'm like, I get it, you know, I get it. He's gone to a divisional rival. He's done you dirty. But let's not forget what he did do. He turned that offense around. He was part of the Dan Campbell revolution that has completely made the Lions relevant, which, as a Packers fan, isn't the best, because you're wearing your cheese grater hats out in Detroit. You're giving us a lot of aggro, but we beat you. But anyway, should you be booing Ben Johnson? No. But can he turn that around in Chicago? I don't know, because the Bears are looking like the Bears. And where do you start? And I can say this as a United fan because we are in the pits of soccer hell. We are awful. And when I watched that Bears-Lions game, I watched the entirety of that game. I just thought, my word, Caleb Williams doesn't look like a franchise quarterback, in my opinion. The magic of Ben Johnson isn't really looking like it's there at the moment. Granted, he hasn't had a lot of time. It's week 2. But you always think with a new person coming into the culture, setting the culture, coming into the franchise, that you're going to get this going. You are going to give it that boost, that kick up the arse that it needs to get something going. Even if you just grind out a couple of performances, it isn't there, is it? It's a bad time to be a Bears fan, because like Man United, one of my friends, Ian, is a Bears fan and a United fan. And I just think, is it going to get go? I don't think it is. I think it's going to be a tough season to be a Bears fan. So my take for week 2 was absolutely abysmal. Week 3, going into it very quickly, we've got Bills-Dolphins. I think the Bills are going to absolutely destroy the Miami Dolphins. We've got Vikings-Bengals. A lot of talk about JJ McCarthy potentially being out. So I'm going to go Bengals. I'm going to think they turn it around. Jags-Texans. I'm going to take the Jags. Titans, Colts. I'm going to take the Colts. Commanders, Raiders. I'm going to take the Commanders. I think the Commanders turn it round and they beat the Raiders. Eagles, Rams. I'm going to take the Eagles. How good do the Eagles look at the moment? Panthers, Falcons. I'm going to take the Falcons. Pats, Steelers. I'm going to go Steelers. Browns, Packers. Sunday night, 6 o'clock for us in England. I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers absolutely destroy the Cleveland Browns. I think we're going to put up big numbers against the Browns. Bucks, Jets. I'm going to give it the Jets. I'm going to think Jets win. Chargers, Broncos. I'm going to go Broncos. I'm going to give that a wild pick. They were very unlucky against the Indianapolis Colts, but what another game for Daniel Jones. Just goes to show, find your team. You are a good quarterback. You just need to find your team. Seahawks, Saints. I'm going to go Saints. Bears, Cowboys. I'm going to take the Bears. That's my pun. I think the Bears are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Niners, Cardinals. I'm going to take Niners. Giants, Chiefs. I'm going to take the New York Giants. I think the Kansas City Chiefs start this season 0-3. And we had Emerson Lehman on, and his big take was that the Giants are going to get to the playoffs. And maybe this is the start, Emerson. Ravens, Lions, I'm going to take the Ravens. And I think they will be the results of our week 3 NFL fixtures. Coming up on the next podcast, we're going to have a guest. I'm going to get Lauren on, and we're going to talk about sort of if you're a new fan into the NFL, if you've got a partner, male, female, friend, parent, and you're wanting to get them into the sport that you love, how you can do it, the things that maybe you should look at, some games that we're going to play, introducing rules. So we're going to have Lauren on. And exciting news I'm currently working on. We're going to do a fan event where I'm going to get the international fans for the Lions, Jets, Da Bears, and the Packers me. And we're going to get on and we're going to have a fan debate. Very much in the style of the stick to football fan debates. We're going to talk about our teams. We're going to talk about where we're at. And yeah, we're going to make it fun. So that is episode 4 of the Final Whistle podcast. For anybody listening, thank you. I truly, truly appreciate it. Give us a follow on YouTube. Give us a follow on TikTok, Spotify, Instagram. We're on all the major platforms. And as always, if you want to come on, drop us a message on Instagram. And we are looking for people to come on regularly. Thank you for listening. And go Pack, go.